Welcome back, everyone. At this point, there are very few big names left on the open market. Regardless of if we are talking about the trade market or the free agent market, it's pretty trimmed down at this point. However, there do happen to be a few of them left. Many believe that a guy like Trae Young could be available for the right price, a 3-time All-Star that has in fact been linked to the purple and gold, though it does not appear to be very likely. Between what it would take to get him, although simply the awkward fit between him and LeBron on the same team, I for one don't see it happening. And that would probably have to be the biggest name left on the open market. But even apart from Trae Young, there do happen to be a couple more left. Another guy worth mentioning could be Brook Lopez, though I don't find that one very likely to happen either. Definitely a much better fit, but I'm not sure how I would feel about giving up a first-round draft pick for a 36-year-old, which reportedly is what Milwaukee would want for him. And that would rule out yet another trade target for a bigger name. Though even then there are still a few more left. In fact, one of them happens to be a former Laker, with that being Brandon Ingram. After half a decade with New Orleans, their time together could quickly be coming to an end. Between a back-and-forth contract dispute, along with a very underwhelming playoff performance, it's all but guaranteed that Ingram will be traded. The Pelicans no longer view him as a top priority, and therefore do not want to pay him like one. I mean, it's hard to blame him after he put up only 14 points on 34% shooting from the field during the postseason, which was a big part of them getting swept. And well, that obviously carried over into their contract negotiations. But after trading him away back in 2019, might the Lakers have interest in bringing him back? Many believe that they could. And if they could find a way to trade for him, although maybe signing a guy like Gary Trent Jr., would that be the quote-unquote perfect way for them to fix their offseason? We'll talk about exactly that during today's video. But before we get too far into it, if you want to stay up to date with everything Lakers throughout the offseason, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. And like I mentioned before, Brandon Ingram could be on the move. Even after going back and forth for well over a month about a new contract, they have yet to come to an agreement. And according to Mark Stein, the Pelicans are quote-unquote very open to trading him. I mean, that to me sounds like he could be traded at any moment. In fact, I think the Pelicans will be more open to trading him compared to keeping him at this point, as in my opinion, you really gotta pick between one of him and Zion Williamson. Between them both being a bit injury prone, although simply not playing well, let alone even playing at all when it matters most, you cannot have them being your top two options, which they have now dealt with for multiple years. And after making a trade for DeJounte Murray, they have hinted at going in a different direction, one that would not include Brandon Ingram, as they currently have Zion Williamson under contract for another 4 years, pretty much making him the priority here over Ingram. And with that being said, might he be more valuable to a different team, and could that team be your LA Lakers? Well, that will obviously depend on who you ask, but in my opinion, it would really come down to price here. Again, Brandon Ingram is currently looking for a new contract, meaning you would not only be making a trade for him, although giving up assets for him, but then you would have to pay him as well, which would likely be a maximum level contract, and that alone would be a tough choice to make. I mean, you can really make an argument both ways here. He's kind of right on that borderline between a max player or not, averaging about 23 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and then having a 58% true shooting percentage during the past half decade. Again, really being right on the edge of having that value or not. Now, I know he did not have a good end to last season, but we simply cannot overlook what he's done with their team. Though on the other hand, you can argue that he might have plateaued, with his numbers and overall impact going down rather than up. Not by a dramatic amount or anything, but they definitely have been trending in the wrong direction. And with him soon to be 27, I cannot imagine that he will be taking another big leap forward, and you really do gotta keep that in mind when making a trade for him. And then finally, we cannot forget to factor in the amount that he has been hurt. In fact, he has only played over 70 games one time, with that coming all the way back during his rookie year in 2017. Yeah, not a good thing. Now, thankfully he has never gone through any kind of major injury, but he does seem to go through a couple of them every single year, which led to him being sidelined for about 20 to 30 games on average for about the past half decade now. And for a team like the Lakers that already have LeBron and Anthony Davis, both of which have dealt with their own fair share of injury, that might not be the best idea. But again, it ultimately will come down to price here in my opinion. To even make the trade work financially, they would have to include a combination of D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and a minimum contract, or instead given that the Pelicans would not want D'Lo, which I cannot imagine they would, then the Lakers have to include Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and Gabe Vincent. And that would only be to make the money work. They would then have to include a first round draft pick at the very least. though I think they might benefit from Ingram being on an expiring contract. I mean, I guarantee the Pelicans will ask for 2 first-round draft picks right away, but maybe they could talk them down to only 1 if they gave them this combination, along with them having to pay Ingram that contract. After all, they could probably get another first-round draft pick for Vanderbilt and Hachimura each, giving the Pelicans a total value of 3 first-round draft picks here for Brandon Ingram, who again does happen to be on a 1-year contract. Now, would I be willing to make that trade for him? I'm not sure I would, given when you factor in everything that we talked about before, but then again, it would be hard to pass up on a talent like Brandon Ingram. Even with the injury history, along with him wanting a new big contract, Brandon Ingram happens to be a legit number 2 or 3 scoring option, a great playmaker for a wing, a solid, albeit not great defender, and then a good 3-point shooter. And you can argue that would be an upgrade from what they would be giving up here. Now, would I call him the perfect trade target for them? No, I don't think I would. I think there's simply too much risk here with him to call him that, though I do think he would be a pretty good fit for their team if used correctly. But again, it really all comes down to price here in my opinion. I would not be prepared to give up a trade haul for Brandon Ingram. Maybe if he were a bit more durable and on a more team-friendly contract I would, but that unfortunately does not happen to be the case here with him. However, if you then add in a guy like Gary Trent Jr. with him, who they would be opening up a roster spot for, though they would have to salary dump a little bit more money, then I would be a lot more happy. And after making a big trade, along with opening up more minutes within their rotation, then Gary Trent might be willing to hop on board with them. Again, they would have to dump more salary off their payroll before they can do it, regardless of if they would trade for Brandon Ingram or not, but I think he absolutely would be their best target. If they could get him for only $5.2 million, which would be the value of the contract they would be offering him, then that would be a tremendous pickup in my opinion. Even with him coming off a down year, it's not very often you can pick up a guy that put up nearly 14 points on 39% 3-point shooting for that kind of price, and I think that would be an absolute bargain. And after they lost Taurean Prince, they could really use some more 3-point shooting. I mean, I'm pretty confident in Max Christie, but you never know how a relatively unproven 21-year-old might do. And then with both D'Angelo Russell and Rui Hachimura potentially being traded, especially if they would make a trade for Brandon Ingram, then they would really have a need for more 3-point shooting. And well, there are very few that can do it better than Gary Trent Jr. Not only is the guy near 39% career 3-point shooter, but he shot over 43% on catch and shoot threes last season, one of the best in the entire NBA. And if you ask me, they should without a doubt be willing to salary dump more money off their payroll if you take that contract from them, which I imagine they could get a pretty big hint from, with his current agent being Rich Paul, the best friend to LeBron James. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How would you feel about going all in on a trade for Brandon Ingram, and then similarly going all in to try and get Gary Trent Jr. in free agency? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to those of you who took the time to watch until the end of this video, and until the end of all of my videos in general. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.